Captain Elias Rinn had seen many things in his life. He had fought in space wars, commanded small fleets, and survived battles that would have ended lesser men. But nothing prepared him for the quiet loneliness of the outer rim. The stars here were colder, more distant. The planets were small, rocky, and lifeless. And the orbital station he had inherited, a relic from a past human era, was no exception. It had been decades since anyone had lived there. The base had been abandoned, its purpose long forgotten. Space agencies had left it behind, calling it obsolete, too costly to maintain, and of little use in the age of faster, bigger stations. Yet, to Elias, it was more than metal and machinery. It was a place where he could start again, away from the politics, away from the crowded sectors where people only looked at him as a soldier. Elias's daughter, Leora, bounced excitedly in the pilot seat beside him. At 14, she was small, wiry, and sharp-minded, with eyes that seemed to miss nothing. She had grown up hearing stories of the stars, of battles her father had fought, and of alien worlds that shimmered like jewels in the void. But nothing made her more curious than the old space base. "Father," she said, pointing to a faint green glow on the station's surface. "Do you think anyone has seen it in years?" Elias shook his head. "Not a soul. If they had, they would have left some trace. This place, it's ours now." The shuttle hummed as it approached the station, its thrusters adjusting to the weak gravity field. Dust and tiny debris clung to the surface like snowflakes, proof that no one had maintained it. Panels were dented, antennas bent, and the docking bay looked like it had not been used in a century. "Looks like junk," Leora whispered. She smiled, though, her hands gripping the console. "But I think it has secrets." Elias chuckled softly. "Secrets are exactly what we're here to find. But first, we survive the docking." The docking sequence was tricky. Some panels had malfunctioned long ago, and automated systems had fallen silent. Elias manually guided the shuttle, carefully aligning it with the main bay. The moment the clamps locked in place, the shuttle shuddered, and the station's metal groaned like an old giant waking from sleep. Inside, the air was stale but breathable. Dust drifted in lazy patterns, catching in the dim emergency lights that still flickered. The walls were scratched and scorched from long-ago minor accidents. Rust had begun to claim corners, and cables dangled like vines from the ceilings. "This is amazing," Leora said, her voice echoing slightly. "It's like stepping back in time." Elias smiled faintly, wiping dust from his uniform. "Time hasn't been kind, but it hasn't destroyed everything. With work, we can restore this place. We can make it ours." They moved through the corridors, opening storage rooms and offices, finding old supplies and machinery left behind. Some of it was useless, broken beyond repair. But some were functional, enough to make survival here possible. Leora immediately began cataloging items, jotting notes in her datapad. She loved organizing, and she loved discovering how old tech worked. Hours passed, and the station began to feel alive, the hum of old life support systems, the creak of panels as they settled, and the faint sounds of distant machinery created a rhythm that both comforted and inspired. Later, as Elias checked the main control room, he heard a soft laugh behind him. Leora had opened a small hatch and discovered a hidden storage compartment. Inside were tools, ancient but in good condition, and a small crate labeled in a language neither of them recognized. "Father," she said, holding a glowing device, "look at this. I think it's some kind of power source. It's different." Elias took the device carefully, examining it. There was a faint pulse, almost like a heartbeat. This isn't human tech, or at least not anything we've seen in years. Keep it safe. We'll study it later." As the sun set behind the distant gas giant, the station glimmered faintly in the void. They had food, water, and shelter, but most importantly, they had hope. Hope that this abandoned place could become their home. However, news travels fast, even to the outer rim. Nearby colonies had noticed the shuttle arriving at the old station. Gossip spread through comm channels and merchant hubs. Within hours, Elias and Leora became the subject of ridicule. Traders, pilots, and neighboring settlers called the Rins foolish. Taking over that junk station? They'll never survive, one trader messaged. Old base, old tech, old luck. Good luck, Rins, another joked. Leora read the messages and frowned. Father, why are they laughing at us? We have food, water, and we even have a working power grid. Elias put a hand on her shoulder. People always laugh at what they don't understand. Don't worry about them. We know the truth. This place has potential. We just need time, patience, and work. The next day, they began cleaning and repairing. Leora took apart machinery with careful hands, restoring circuits and rewiring broken conduits. Elias cleared debris, repaired airlocks, and ensured life support functioned perfectly. As they worked, Leora discovered odd markings etched into the walls of one corridor. They were small symbols, barely noticeable, but repeated across several panels. Father, she called, these aren't just scratches. They're instructions, or maybe a code. Elias examined the markings. Could be old operational codes. Whoever built this station left instructions in plain sight for anyone clever enough to find them. Keep looking. Maybe we can learn something useful. Over the next week, Leora explored more of the station. One day, she came across a sealed chamber at the far end of a corridor. Its door was made of reinforced alloy, untouched by rust or decay. Strange, glowing lines ran across its surface. Father, she whispered into her comm, I found something. It's different. This door looks like it hasn't been opened in decades. Elias came quickly. He examined the door carefully. This isn't just storage. It's a chamber designed to protect something valuable or dangerous. We'll need to be careful. That evening, as they set up sleeping quarters in the station's main living area, they heard faint vibrations coming from deep inside the structure. The hum was steady, almost like a heartbeat, and seemed to respond to their movements. Leora's eyes lit up with curiosity. Do you feel that, Father? It's alive. Somehow. Elias nodded slowly. Or it's waiting for someone clever enough to wake it. That's why it's been sealed all this time. Days turned into weeks. Elias and Leora repaired old systems, scavenged useful parts, and slowly began to restore power to the station. Every night, Leora would study the sealed chamber, taking notes, measuring energy levels, and trying to decode the strange symbols. Despite the mocking messages from nearby colonies, they persevered. Their determination made them stronger, their bond closer. Elias taught Leora how to maintain life support systems, how to secure airlocks, and how to protect the base from uninvited visitors. Leora, in turn, impressed her father with ingenuity, quickly mastering repairs and making improvements that even Elias had not thought possible. One morning, a supply shuttle arrived unexpectedly. It had been sent by a curious trader who had detected unusual energy readings from the station. The trader had expected an empty, abandoned base, but instead found Elias and Leora working diligently. Impressive, the trader said, watching Leora adjust a circuit. I thought this place was a graveyard. But you two, you've brought it back to life. Leora smiled. We've only just begun. There's more to discover here than anyone realizes. Elias looked out into space, his eyes reflecting distant stars. They mocked us at first, he said quietly. But in time, they will see the truth. Not because we fight them, but because we build, we discover, and we endure. That night, As the base settled into the calm hum of restored energy, Leora returned to the sealed chamber. She traced the glowing symbols with her fingers, wondering what secrets lay behind the reinforced door. A faint warmth pulsed from the surface, almost like it recognized her touch. "Tomorrow," she whispered, "we'll find out what you are." And for the first time, the abandoned station did not feel lonely. It felt alive. It felt like the beginning of something greater. A place where a father and daughter could prove that human courage, intelligence, and determination could unlock wonders that others had long forgotten. The stars outside shone brighter than ever, as if acknowledging their presence. In the vast, cold emptiness of space, the Rins had found hope, and the universe, silent and patient, seemed ready to reveal its secrets. The morning light streamed through the station's high windows, bouncing off the metal walls and casting long shadows in the corridors. Captain Elias Rin sat at a control console, checking power grids and life support systems. Every system hummed smoothly now, thanks to the hours he and Leora had spent repairing old circuits, clearing debris, and calibrating long-forgotten machines. The station, once a dusty relic, was beginning to breathe again. Leora, however, was not content with repairs alone. Her curiosity had turned toward the sealed chamber she had discovered last week. The glowing symbols on the reinforced door pulsed faintly in rhythm, as if waiting for someone to understand them. "Father," she called, her voice echoing in the control room. "I think I'm ready to try something. The chamber, it wants to be opened." Elias looked up from his console, concern written across his face. "Be careful, Leora. We don't know what's inside. It could be dangerous. Or delicate. I don't want you taking risks you can't handle." Leora smiled reassuringly. "I know, Father. I've studied the markings, the energy readings, and the structure of the door. I think I can open it safely." After a long pause, Elias nodded. "Very well, but I'll be right behind you." The father-daughter pair approached the chamber. The door's glowing symbols seemed to respond to their presence, pulsing more brightly as they neared. Leora examined the markings, running her fingers over the engraved lines and tracing them in the air with a small scanning device she had fashioned. The device hummed softly, analyzing the energy signatures embedded in the alloy. "I think this is not just a lock," Leora said. "It's a complex interface. Whoever built this didn't want it opened easily. But it's designed to respond to intelligence, to understanding." Elias frowned. "So it reacts to thinking, not just tools. Interesting. That explains why no one has opened it for decades." With careful concentration, Leora aligned the patterns on her device to the symbols on the door. Lights flickered across the panels as the chamber responded to her calculations. A soft vibration ran along the floor, almost like the station itself was breathing. "Steady," Leora whispered. "Just a little more." Finally, with a faint hiss, the reinforced door slid open. Dust and faint energy particles escaped like a slow mist, sparkling in the dim lights. Elias and Leora stepped inside. The chamber was small, but filled with a strange, humming glow. At its center rested a device unlike anything they had seen. It was smooth, metallic, and organic in design, with curves that defied simple engineering. A soft blue light pulsed from its core, illuminating symbols etched into the walls. "It's beautiful," Leora breathed. Elias nodded slowly. "And powerful. Whatever this is, it wasn't built by humans we know. It's beyond our current technology. Be careful." Leora approached the artifact cautiously. Her hands hovered just above the surface, feeling the faint warmth and energy that seemed alive. It responded to her presence, pulsing in a gentle rhythm. "I think it's waiting for me," she said softly. Elias placed a hand on her shoulder. "Then we find out together, but slowly, no sudden actions." For hours, Leora studied the artifact. Her intelligence and patience allowed her to understand its functions, at least partially. She discovered that it could store energy far beyond the capacity of the station's reactors. Small control nodes around its surface seemed to interface with the station, allowing it to enhance power systems, sensors, and communication networks. "This could change everything," she said. "If we understand it fully, we could power the station for decades, explore farther, and even communicate across the stars without needing external systems." Elias studied the glowing device, impressed by his daughter's insight. "You're right, Leora. But there's more. Whoever left this here, they were hiding something, maybe protecting it. We need to be cautious. If someone or something comes looking for this, we'll need to defend ourselves." Days passed as Leora continued her study. The artifact began to integrate with the station's systems, reviving old machinery and activating hidden sensors. Strange readings appeared on their consoles, energy signatures in distant space, faint transmissions from uncharted sectors, and even signs of ancient star maps embedded in the artifact's core. "Father, look at this," Leora said one evening, pointing to the display. It's a map. I think it shows locations of old human and alien outposts. Some are resources, some are research facilities, and a few, I think they could be lost ships or stations." Elias leaned over, studying the holographic map. "Incredible. That could change everything. Human knowledge, exploration, even trade routes. But this also explains why people mocked us at first. They had no idea what we were about to discover." Leora's excitement was contagious. Even Elias felt a spark of hope he had not known in years. They had not only restored the station but also uncovered a hidden piece of history, technology far beyond their current understanding. However, their progress did not go unnoticed. The artifact's activation sent pulses into space, faint but detectable. Nearby settlements, traders, and even military scouts noticed unusual energy signatures coming from the old base. Rumors began to spread. The abandoned station was no longer abandoned. Some were curious, some cautious, and others greedy. Messages began appearing on long-range comm channels. "Old station active again? Impossible," one trader exclaimed. "Do you think it could be abandoned tech from the first wars? Maybe alien?" another asked. Elias monitored the messages, but chose not to respond. "Let them talk," he said. "We focus on our work. Knowledge and preparation are more important than their opinions." Meanwhile, Leora made another discovery. The artifact was not only a power source and map, it seemed to have some form of intelligence. It responded differently to her commands than to her father's. Certain patterns of motion, pressure, and thought caused it to shift and pulse in ways that hinted at understanding. "Father," she said one night, "I think it recognizes me. Not like a machine, but like it knows I'm trying to learn. I think it trusts me." Elias nodded slowly, impressed and cautious. "If that's true, we must respect it. Treat it as a partner, not just a tool. Whoever built this left it here for a reason. Perhaps they intended someone capable to use it wisely." One afternoon, while examining the outer corridors, Leora noticed a faint energy signature approaching the station. Small, fast-moving objects, like drones, moved carefully around the base, scanning it. They were not human-made. Their design was alien, sleek, and streamlined, almost living in appearance. "Father," she whispered, "we have visitors, I think. They're curious, not aggressive. Yet." Elias frowned, gripping his utility belt. "We protect ourselves first. Observation second. We don't know their intentions. Ready the defenses, but don't engage unless necessary." The drones moved closer, scanning the station's surfaces, interacting with panels, and studying the artifact. Leora realized that they were responding to the energy pulses of the device, perhaps trying to communicate. "Father," she said excitedly, "I think they're intelligent." We might be able to talk to them, or at least show them we mean no harm. Elias studied her. If you're right, that could be incredible. But stay cautious. Curiosity can be dangerous in space. Over the next several days, Leora experimented with communication. Using the artifact, she generated patterns of light and energy that mimicked the drone's pulses. Slowly, they responded in kind. A silent dialogue began, one based not on language but on energy patterns, recognition, and mutual understanding. The station, once abandoned and ridiculed, became a hub of discovery and connection. Neighboring settlements began to notice the Rin's success. Some sent messages of curiosity rather than mockery, and traders who once laughed began offering supplies and information. One evening, as the father and daughter watched the stars from the station's observation deck, Elias spoke quietly. "Leora, look at what we've done. We came here to start over, and instead, we've uncovered something extraordinary. The universe. It's not just vast, it's alive, waiting for those who are brave and curious enough to find it." Leora nodded, her eyes reflecting distant lights from the drones hovering outside. "It's just the beginning, Father. The artifact, the station, everything we've found, there's so much more to discover. I can feel it." Elias smiled. "And we will together. We'll protect it, study it, and use it to help humanity. That's what makes us human. Our courage, our curiosity, and our will to explore." As night fell across the remote orbital station, the artifact pulsed softly, as if acknowledging their presence. Somewhere in the distant stars, intelligence beyond human comprehension had taken notice of the Rins, and the universe, patient and vast, had decided that this small station, and the father and daughter within it, were ready for the challenges to come. In the quiet hum of revived systems, the Rins understood something profound. Human ingenuity, patience, and determination could awaken wonders that had long been forgotten. The journey ahead would not be easy, but they were ready. The stars outside glimmered like diamonds against black velvet. The drones circled silently, observing and learning. And the artifact, a relic of a forgotten age, awaited the next step in its story, a story that would change not only the station, but the future of humanity itself. The orbital station, once abandoned and forgotten, now thrummed with life. Its lights flickered steadily, systems hummed smoothly, and energy flowed through circuits that had been silent for decades. Elias Rin walked the corridors, his eyes scanning every panel and junction. Every repaired line, every functioning system reminded him that they had done the impossible. They had brought the station back from oblivion. Leora, however, was not content to rest. The artifact pulsed softly in the sealed chamber, and she felt a strange connection with it. It had grown more responsive over the past week. Its pulses seemed to anticipate her touch, its energy subtly interacting with her thoughts. She had discovered more of its functions: energy amplification, data storage, and even interfaces that hinted at interstellar navigation. But she still felt there was more hidden within its glowing core. "Father," she called as she approached the control room, "I think the artifact wants to guide us. I can feel it, like it's showing something we can't see yet." Elias looked up, his eyes narrowing. "You think it's leading us to something? We must be careful. Not everything hidden in the stars is safe." Before Leora could answer, the sensors detected movement outside the station. Small alien drones, sleek and metallic, hovered silently near the perimeter. They glimmered in the dim light of the distant star, their surfaces reflecting faint pulses from the artifact inside. "They're back," Leora said, her voice a mix of excitement and caution. "And I think they've noticed more than last time. Elias frowned, adjusting the defensive shields around the station. Good. Let's see what they want. But keep your distance. Don't provoke them. The drones circled, scanning panels, analyzing energy emissions, and interacting with the station's surface. Their movements were precise, deliberate, almost intelligent. Leora realized they were not attacking. They were studying, learning, and perhaps trying to communicate. "I think they're curious," Leora said, watching the drones respond to a pulse she sent through the artifact. "They're trying to understand the station, and us." Elias nodded. "Curiosity can be dangerous. Let's hope theirs stays peaceful." Over the next few days, the father and daughter worked tirelessly. Leora developed a pattern of light and energy pulses, using the artifact to communicate with the drones. Slowly, a silent dialogue began. The drones responded, mimicking the pulses and even transmitting data back to the station. It became clear they were not hostile. They were intelligent, adaptive, and observant. Then, something extraordinary happened. One of the drones projected a small holographic map into the station's main chamber. Elias and Leora gasped as they saw familiar star systems, unknown planets, and markers that glowed like beacons. The map was ancient, older than any human charts they had seen, but it clearly highlighted locations of resources, abandoned stations, and hidden technologies across multiple sectors. "The artifact. It's linked to them," Leora whispered. "It's a guide. Together we can find these places." Elias studied the holographic map, feeling a sense of awe and responsibility. These markers, they could be lost human settlements, research outposts, or even alien stations. Whoever built this wanted someone capable to find them. That someone is us. But their growing success attracted attention. Reports of unusual energy readings from the orbital station reached nearby colonies, traders, and even military scouts. Some were curious, some cautious, and others greedy. Soon, strange ships began appearing on the edge of the station's sensors, observing from afar but not approaching directly. One morning, a small, heavily armored scout ship appeared. Its crew transmitted a message. "Identify yourselves. We have detected energy signatures inconsistent with known human systems. State your purpose." Elias replied calmly, "This station is under our control. We are human. Our purpose is exploration, research, and protection of these systems. We mean no harm." The reply was brief and cautious. "We will observe. Any unauthorized interference will be met with force." Elias turned to Leora. "We are being watched, but we will continue. We have nothing to hide, and our work is for the good of humanity." Leora nodded. She had grown more confident with each day, mastering the artifact, communicating with the drones, and navigating the station's systems. "Father, the artifact, it's showing me something new. A location, far beyond known charts. I think it's a hidden ship, something buried inside the station itself." Elias's eyes widened. "A ship? Here? That would explain why this station was abandoned. Whoever built it wanted to keep it safe, hidden." They spent days tracing the artifact's signals, examining old schematics, and unlocking hidden corridors. Finally, they found a reinforced hatch deep beneath the main station. The symbols on the door pulsed in recognition as Leora approached, as if the artifact had led them here intentionally. "This is it," Leora whispered. "The artifact guided us. Whatever is behind this door, it's important." Elias nodded, checking the structural integrity of the hatch. "Careful. We don't know what's inside. Could be dangerous or delicate. Ready the defenses just in case." Together, they opened the hatch. Inside lay a starship, unlike any human design. Sleek, silver, and smooth, it seemed almost alive. Lights glowed along its hull, and energy flowed along circuits that defied conventional engineering. The artifact pulsed strongly as they approached, resonating with the ship in a way that made the air feel charged. Leora's eyes sparkled. "It's incredible. It's centuries ahead of human technology." Elias ran his hand along the hull. "And it's ours, if we can figure it out. Whoever built this trusted us to awaken it, to use it wisely." Over the next few days, they studied the starship, using the artifact as a guide. Leora discovered that the ship could interface with the station, drawing energy from the revived systems and amplifying them for propulsion and navigation. The ship's controls were intuitive, responding to thought patterns, gestures, and energy signals. "This is more than a ship," Leora said. "It's a partner. It understands. It can learn." Elias smiled faintly. "Then we treat it as one. Carefully. We don't want to break something centuries in the making." As they worked, the drones remained close, observing and assisting in their own way. They mimicked actions, transmitted data, and even helped stabilize energy flows. Leora realized that the artifact, the ship, and the drones were all connected, a network of intelligence waiting for humans capable enough to use it responsibly. But their success also brought risk. The scout ships continued to monitor from a distance, and whispers of the Rin's discoveries spread. Some nearby traders, once mocking, now approached with cautious respect. Others plotted to claim the station and the artifact for themselves. One night, a message arrived on the station's comm channel. It was from a rogue group of scavengers claiming they could take the station by force. They did not know the true power of the artifact or the hidden starship. Elias read the message aloud. "They think they can take what we've found. They have no idea what they are facing." Leora set the station's defensive systems to maximum readiness. "Father, they don't stand a chance, but we must be smart. Force alone won't protect us. We have to outthink them." The next morning, the scouts drew closer, testing the station's shields with minor attacks. Elias and Leora worked in perfect sync, using the artifact to anticipate movements, strengthen defenses, and even communicate with the drones to intercept probes. The small, intelligent drones moved like shadows, disabling attacks and gathering data without risking the station. Finally, after hours of careful maneuvering, the attackers realized they were outmatched. The combination of human ingenuity, the artifact's power, and the drone's intelligence created a defense they could not penetrate. Retreating, they vanished into the black void of space, leaving the Rins victorious. Breathing heavily, Elias turned to Leora. "We've proven something today. Human courage, intelligence, and determination can hold their own against anyone, even when outnumbered or underestimated." Leora smiled, feeling proud and strong. "And this is only the beginning. The artifact, the ship, the drones. We can explore, discover, and protect. There's so much waiting out there." Elias nodded. "Yes, but we must be careful. Knowledge is power, and power attracts attention. We do this right, and humanity benefits. We do this wrong, and, well, the universe will correct itself. But I trust us. I trust you." The father and daughter spent the next few days fully integrating the starship with the station. The artifact guided them, revealing hidden systems, secret storage, and even ancient navigation charts. They realized that this station had been a guardian, protecting the ship and the artifact until someone capable arrived. Leora stood at the observation deck, watching the stars. "Father, do you feel it? The universe is alive, watching, waiting, and I think it wants us to continue." Elias placed a hand on her shoulder. "Yes, Leora, and we will. We'll explore, learn, and protect. That's what makes humans extraordinary. Our courage, our curiosity, and our will to rise above the impossible." As the night fell over the revived station, The drones hovered silently, observing, learning, and guiding. The artifact pulsed steadily, resonating with the ship and the station. Somewhere in the distant stars, intelligence beyond human comprehension had taken notice. The Rins had proven themselves capable, but they knew this was only the beginning. The universe was vast, filled with challenges and wonders. Yet for the first time, Elias and Leora felt ready. The stars shone brighter than ever, reflecting in the windows of the station. A hidden ship, intelligent drones, and an artifact of unimaginable power awaited their guidance. Humanity's potential, through courage, ingenuity, and unity, had been unlocked, and the journey was just beginning. The orbital station glowed like a beacon in the endless dark of space. Its systems, once silent and broken, now thrummed with life. The artifact pulsed steadily in its chamber, sending waves of energy that resonated through the base and into the hidden starship below. For weeks, Elias and Leora Rin had studied, repaired, and restored everything. Now, the final step awaited them, the awakening of the starship that had lain hidden for centuries. Leora stood at the entrance to the ship's hatch, her hands trembling slightly. "Father, are we ready?" Elias stepped beside her, placing a firm hand on her shoulder. "We've done everything we can. The artifact has guided us, the station supports us, and the drones are watching. We are ready. Remember, Leora, caution is as important as courage." With a deep breath, Leora activated the ship's interface using the artifact. The vessel responded instantly. Lights glowed along its hull, energy flowed through circuits that had been dormant for decades, and the ship's systems hummed like a living organism awakening from sleep. "Look at that," Elias whispered. "It's beautiful and powerful." The starship's control interface adapted to Leora's presence. Panels shifted, screens illuminated, and a holographic display appeared before her. Symbols, patterns, and charts filled the air, showing distant star systems, unknown planets, and routes that spanned the galaxy. The artifact pulsed in recognition, its energy flowing seamlessly into the ship. Leora's eyes sparkled. "Father, it's ready. It's like it's alive, and it knows we're here to guide it." Elias nodded. "Then we do this together, step by step." For the next several hours, they tested the ship's systems. The engines, powered by the artifact, responded perfectly. Navigation controls reacted intuitively to thought and gesture. Defensive systems calibrated themselves, and the drones hovering around the ship synchronized their movements with the vessel, creating a network of intelligence and protection that was unmatched. This is more than I imagined," Leora said, her voice full of awe. "We have a starship centuries ahead of anything humanity has built, and it's waiting for us to explore the stars." Elias smiled. "It's more than a ship. It's a gift and a responsibility. We use it wisely, we protect it, and we use it to help humanity. That is what makes humans extraordinary." Meanwhile, the energy pulses from the artifact had not gone unnoticed. Scouts, traders, and neighboring colonies detected the sudden surge of activity. Some arrived cautiously, hoping to witness the miracle of the station's revival. Others sent ships, curious about the immense energy readings. Elias observed the approaching vessels. "We're going to have visitors," he said calmly. "But we don't hide anything. We've done nothing wrong. Let them see what humans can do when they are brave and smart." When the first ships arrived, their crews were astonished. What they saw was beyond imagination. A fully operational ancient station, a glowing artifact of unknown origin, and a starship that pulsed with power as if alive. The scouts communicated through long-range channels, asking questions about the technology and the station. Leora answered confidently, explaining how the station had been restored, how the artifact guided them, and how the starship had been awakened. The aliens and human visitors alike were amazed at their ingenuity and courage. "Your work, it's remarkable," one scout said. "Few humans could accomplish this. You have proven the strength of your species." Elias nodded. "We did not do this alone. Humanity is capable of courage, intelligence, and persistence. This is proof that even in the most forgotten corners of space, humans can rise to greatness." As the days passed, the Rins prepared the starship for its first voyage. Leora coordinated with the drones, creating energy shields and navigation protocols. Elias inspected every system, ensuring the safety of the vessel and its crew. The artifact, fully integrated, pulsed in harmony with the ship, responding to their thoughts and guidance. Finally, the moment arrived. The starship stood ready, its engines glowing faintly as the station's energy flowed into it. Elias and Leora stepped aboard, their hearts pounding with excitement and responsibility. "Are you ready, Father?" Leora asked, gripping the control panel. Elias placed a hand on hers. "Ready. Let's show the universe what humans can do." The engines roared to life, and the starship lifted from the station with effortless grace. Energy cascaded around it as the artifact channeled power into the vessel. Slowly at first, then faster, the ship rose above the orbital base, casting a soft glow across the station. Nearby ships watched in awe. Messages flooded their communications systems. Unbelievable. Human ingenuity. Never seen anything like this. As the starship stabilized in orbit, Leora activated the navigation interface. The holographic star map illuminated the cabin, highlighting distant systems marked by the artifact. These were locations of hidden resources, abandoned research stations, and ancient alien outposts, places that had been lost to time. "Father, this is our path," Leora said, pointing to the map. "The artifact is showing us where to go first." Elias nodded. "Then we follow it. Carefully, explore, learn, protect. That is what humans do best." Their first journey took them to a nearby planet, marked by the artifact as a former research facility. The planet was barren and rocky, with signs of ancient structures partially buried under layers of dust. Leora guided the starship into orbit, while Elias scanned the surface with advanced sensors integrated through the artifact. "What's remarkable," Elias said, "is that these structures were built by humans long ago, or perhaps by civilizations we do not know. Either way, the knowledge here could help humanity advance by centuries." Leora's hands flew over the controls. "We can recover data, technology, and resources. And with the drones assisting us, it will be safe and efficient." They landed near the remains of a research complex. Inside, they discovered dormant machines, libraries of data, and even experimental technology that could revolutionize energy, medicine, and exploration. Leora activated the artifact to interface with the ancient systems. Slowly, the machines hummed to life, data streamed into the starship, and secrets of the past revealed themselves. "Father, look at this," Leora said. "These systems are compatible with ours. We can integrate them into human networks and technology. This will help everyone, settlements, stations, even colonies far from here." Elias smiled. "And we will. That is our duty. Humanity has been given a gift, and it is our responsibility to use it wisely." Over the next weeks, the Rins traveled from one hidden location to another. Each place revealed new knowledge, technology, and resources. They restored ancient machines, decoded lost languages, and recovered star charts that expanded human understanding of the galaxy. With each discovery, word spread. Human settlements that once mocked the Rins now sought guidance and collaboration. Traders, explorers, and scientists began arriving at the orbital station, eager to learn from their discoveries. The Rins shared knowledge generously, helping humanity advance while keeping the artifact and the starship safe. One evening, as they returned to the orbital station, Elias and Leora looked out over the stars. "Father," Leora said softly, "do you ever think about what would have happened if we hadn't inherited this station? If we hadn't been brave enough to explore it?" Elias nodded, his eyes reflecting distant lights. "I do, but that's why courage matters. Opportunity exists everywhere, even in forgotten places. But only those who are brave enough, curious enough, and persistent enough will seize it. That is what makes humans special." The artifact pulsed softly in its chamber, as if acknowledging their words. The drones hovered nearby, lights flickering in quiet communication. The starship rested in its hangar, ready for the next journey. Leora placed her hand on her father's shoulder. "We've done more than restore a station or awaken a ship. We've shown humanity what's possible. Even in forgotten corners, even when people doubt you, humans can rise, build, and explore." Elias smiled faintly. "Yes, and this is just the beginning. The universe is vast, filled with wonders, challenges, and mysteries. But humans can overcome them. We adapt, we learn, and we endure. That is our legacy." The Wrens continued their work, exploring hidden locations, recovering lost knowledge, and protecting humanity from threats both known and unknown. The orbital station became a hub of discovery, collaboration, and hope. Settlements once skeptical now looked to the Wrens as examples of courage and ingenuity. And somewhere, in the far reaches of space, intelligence beyond human comprehension had taken notice. It observed not with hostility, but with interest. Humanity had proven itself capable not only of survival, but of greatness. The stars outside the station shone like diamonds, reflecting the light of new possibilities. Elias and Leora stood side by side, looking toward the infinite galaxy. The artifact pulsed steadily. The starship waited, and the drones hovered silently, ready for the next journey. The universe was vast. The Wrens were small, but their courage, intelligence, and determination had unlocked wonders that had long been hidden. And humanity, through them, was ready to rise to new heights. As the orbital station hummed with life and the starship glimmered in the void, one thing was clear. This was only the beginning. The Wrens had awakened the past to protect the future, and humanity would never be the same again. The stars were endless, the challenges great, but the human spirit, even in a father and his daughter, was unstoppable. And so, in the quiet, steady hum of the revived station, under the watchful eyes of distant intelligence, humanity's next chapter began.